3 days before my wedding, I was hit by a car, my spine shattered. Sarah Hughes sent the driver to jail. I lay in the hospital bed, unwilling to wake up from the nightmare of being crippled. Through the haze, I overheard Sarah Hughes talking to the doctor. "Ms. Hughes, there's still time for surgery to help him. If we wait any longer, Mr. Lancaster will be paralyzed for life. All you want is for Frank Miller to be your groom. Why risk a life? Crippled is crippled. I'll take care of him for the rest of his life. If he recovers, he'll definitely cause trouble at the wedding." I promised Frank that our child would be welcomed into the Hughes family with fanfare. Only if Leo Lancaster is completely disabled will he treat my child as his own. Being crippled is fine, at least he won't bully the child. In an unnoticed corner, a tear trickled down my cheek. So, the wedding I had been looking forward to was nothing but a lie. The love I craved was also my death warrant. If that's the case, I'll grant her wish. Enough talk. Just follow my plan. Make sure the vasectomy is clean, and don't let him find out. Once he wakes up, I'll take him to the orphanage to bring our child back. Without the chance of having his own children, he'll definitely cherish Lily. The doctor wiped his forehead, feeling a pang of conscience. "Ms. Hughes, shouldn't you reconsider? Mr. Lancaster is already paralyzed from the waist down. This surgery is practically taking his life. How will he ever hold his head high in front of the Hughes family elders? He's still a man. Besides, your child with Mr. Miller is already 3 years old. The girl looks 8 parts like you. If Mr. Lancaster finds out, everything will be ruined." Sarah Hughes reached out, expertly wiping my chapped lips with a wet wipe, her voice filled with regretful love. "He won't find out. As long as he's crippled, he'll be confined to Lancaster Estate for the rest of his life, unable to take a single step outside. I promised Frank that I'd give him a grand wedding and watch our child grow up, even if he marries someone else now. I'll make sure he has no worries." The doctor sighed, looking at my pale face on the hospital bed. "Leo Lancaster is a good man. You two grew up together. Why are you so obsessed with that? Never mind, it's your call, as long as you think it's okay. Proceed. Go prepare for the surgery. Remember, make it clean, leave no traces. I don't want him to suffer too much while Leo is still unconscious." The doctor hurried out of the room. Sarah Hughes took out her cell phone and sent a voice message to her assistant. Did the driver keep his mouth shut? Give his family $2 million as agreed and help them move out of the city. Don't let Leo find out. Tears fell uncontrollably, soaking the pillow. Sarah Hughes used warm water to wipe my body repeatedly. Still, a chill ran through me. So, the wedding I had anticipated for 5 years was just a stepping stone for Frank Miller. The car accident wasn't an accident at all. She was just clearing me, an obstacle, for Frank Miller. The happiness and bliss I thought I had were nothing but illusions. Lies and hurt were the truth between us. I struggled to open my eyes. But soon, I felt the prick of anesthesia. Before being wheeled into the operating room, Sarah Hughes tenderly kissed my lips. "Be good. It'll be over soon, Leo. I'll wait for you to come out." Icy instruments churned inside me. My broken heart grew cold as well. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in the hospital room. I still had no feeling below the waist. Sarah Hughes was watching over me, her face full of worry. She took my hand in hers and gently pressed it against her cheek. "Leo, you're awake. Are you feeling any discomfort? Tell me if you're in pain, and I'll have them change your medication." The same loving expression as before, but without a trace of warmth in her eyes. Could a person really go this far for someone else? I shook my head slightly, touching her tired eyes. "You didn't sleep all night, did you?" "I'm fine. You should get some rest." Sarah Hughes didn't think much of it, relaxed, and soon fell asleep. I picked up her cell phone from the bedside and unlocked it. The wallpaper was still our wedding photos, taken in advance. The social media app was still running in the background. The top contact was labeled Frank. Clicking into the chat box, apart from cute cat emojis, it was all photos of Frank Miller holding the child. Lily kept calling for her mommy today. She knows mommy is pretty, even at this age. She will definitely be a Lucas when she grows up. Lily had a good appetite today. She ate all the cake you sent. Lily is making a fuss about going to the amusement park with her mommy. I can't persuade her no matter what. Come over when you have time. Sarah Hughes didn't reply, but there were video recordings lasting up to 2 hours under each photo. Remembering that she once said she didn't like children, I now understood that she didn't dislike children in general. She just didn't like the children I would have with her. She had created a separate album for Frank Miller. The password was the child's birthday. 5,000 photos documenting the child's 3 years of growth. Sarah Hughes was with them for every important holiday. The second chat box on the app contained records of conversations with the wedding planner. From the moment she started preparing for the wedding a month ago, Sarah Hughes had provided Frank Miller's name. The tuxedo was his size. The invitation was written in both of their handwriting. From the very beginning, she had no intention of letting me participate in this wedding. I smiled mockingly and didn't continue looking. I contacted my brother and asked him to find another hospital for me in Europe for surgery. I applied to cancel his US passport. My brother didn't think much of it, assuming that I had seen through Sarah Hughes's true colors. His words were full of joy for me. Putting down the cell phone, I fell into a deep sleep. When I opened my eyes again, I was awakened by Sarah Hughes's crying. She held a hospital report in her hand, her shoulders trembling. Leo, the doctor said that during the examination, they found that you were born with a deficiency and can't have children. Don't worry, I won't despise you. No matter what you become, you're still my husband. How about we adopt a child after you get discharged? With a child around, you'll definitely get better. I was the one who had lost the ability to have children, but she looked even sadder than I did. Her acting was so convincing that I couldn't be bothered to expose her. After a long silence, I looked at the report in her hand and nodded heavily. Sarah Hughes shed tears of gratitude and hugged me. I'll definitely take good care of you. Don't be afraid. No matter what others say, I'll be on your side. After the wedding, I'll transfer all my assets to you as a guarantee. Our chests pressed tightly together, but our heartbeats were at different frequencies. After a while, Sarah Hughes struggled to speak. It's just that the wedding is already prepared. Now that your body hasn't recovered, maybe we should find someone to replace me. Don't let the Hughes family lose face. I knew what she wanted to say. Rather than being put in a passive position, I might as well take the initiative. At least I could save some face. Sarah Hughes was surprised by my change in attitude. But since her wish had been granted, she didn't want to dwell on it. The cell phone rang. She glanced at it and said in surprise, "Leo, what documents did you cancel?" I quickly swiped away the message and explained calmly, "It's nothing. My documents expired. I can renew them online." She didn't think much of it and hugged me tighter, her tone full of concern. "It's not convenient for you now. Tell me what you need, and I'll take care of it for you." Sarah hug. I want to be discharged from the hospital. Her emotions suddenly tensed up. "No, your body hasn't recovered yet." "I don't agree." I gently touched her cheek, a smile curving my lips. "Didn't you say you wanted to take me to adopt a child? We have nannies at home to take care of us. Nothing will happen." I want to go to the orphanage to see, okay? After being together for 5 years, this was the first time I had acted spoiled and weak with her. Sarah Hughes couldn't resist me and agreed reluctantly. On the way, she took out the cakes that had been prepared in the car and placed them in front of me one by one. She said she bought them especially for me. But the instructions on the packaging, suitable for young children, still stung my eyes. I closed the bag and threw the cake in the back, pretending to feel unwell and closing my eyes. It was time to end this 5-year-long deception. As soon as we entered the orphanage, I sat in my wheelchair. A little girl rushed over familiarly and hugged Sarah Hughes's leg, calling out "Mommy" repeatedly. Sarah Hughes's expression changed. Afraid that I would suspect something, she quickly explained, "Don't misunderstand. I'm a sponsor of this orphanage. I've visited a few times before. This child is an orphan and has always called me that." I nodded, smiling as I touched the child's face. "She looks a lot like you. If you didn't tell me, I would have thought she was your child." "What's her name?" "Lily, the one I'm planning to adopt." Before she could explain further, Lily started crying and shouting for her daddy. Sarah Hughes's face instantly turned pale. She frowned and looked at me. "I'm fine. Go and comfort her. This child is pretty, and I like her too." My words relieved her. Sarah Hughes didn't think much of it and went into the office with the child in her arms. I made an excuse to go to the restroom to get away, but I kept hearing the staff gossiping outside the door. Why is Ms. Hughes making her child pretend to be an orphan? Her clothes are all high-end luxury brands, more expensive than my life. Who would believe that she's an orphan? You don't understand anything. Ms. Hughes has it all planned out. This is the only way to get the child into the Hughes family legitimately. Be smart when you go out later and don't let it slip in front of Mr. Lancaster. Sure enough, Mr. Miller is still the apple of Ms. Hughes's eye. They used to like to do activities here back in college. I could tell back then. I didn't expect it to come true. A man and a woman alone in the same room. Who knows what they're doing? The suggestive laughter reached my ears, making it hard for me to breathe. My wheelchair rolled closer to the door, and I could hear a familiar voice inside. "Is she treating you well?" "She's fine. It's just that she's abroad all year round, and there are some things she can't take care of. It's good that way. Lily won't find out, and she keeps saying she wants to have a child with me." Sarah Hughes smiled, but her eyes were full of bitterness. "Once Lily is in the Hughes family, you won't have to worry. If there's anything you need help with, just send me a message." "Oh, right, this is a watch I just bought. Consider it a wedding gift for you." Frank Miller took the gift box, winking suggestively. "Why are you giving me gifts again? How many wedding gifts have you given me this year? My closet is full. Leo will definitely be unhappy if he finds out." He said it, but he didn't stop taking the gift. Nearby, Lily smiled and threw herself into his arms, calling out "Daddy" repeatedly. The director, eager to complete the formalities, rushed to me and pushed open the door. A look of panic flashed in Sarah Hughes's eyes. "Leo, what are you doing here?" "Don't think too much. Frank Miller is a volunteer at this orphanage. He just happened to be here to visit and talk about adopting Lily." Frank Miller stood up, holding Lily in his arms and waving to me. "Leo, long time no see." I sat in my wheelchair, nodded with a smile, and said, suppressing my feelings, "It's okay. I'm just looking around. Since you're busy, I won't bother you. I'll wait in the car." After speaking, I turned to leave. Sarah Hughes thought I was angry and chased after me to explain for a long time. "Don't misunderstand. He often comes here to sponsor activities. The children in the orphanage all call him Daddy. I'll explain to Lily after the adoption procedures are completed." Seeing how worried she was for me, I suddenly wanted to laugh. To get the child into the family legitimately, she didn't hesitate to cause a car accident that crippled me. Now that she had gotten her wish, who was she trying to please? Don't worry, I'm not that unreasonable. You can complete the procedures. I'll wait for you obediently in the car. She breathed a sigh of relief and watched me return to the car. Every employee who passed by looked at me with mockery in their eyes. I ignored them, took out my cell phone, and completed the application to cancel his U.S. passport online. To celebrate Sarah Hughes bringing the child home, the Hughes family held a family gathering. I made an excuse that my body hadn't recovered and stayed upstairs to rest. But the jeering of Sarah Hughes's parents downstairs still came through the crack in the door. Moving my wheelchair, I stood at the corner of the stairs, watching the harmonious scene of the family of three downstairs. Sarah Hughes thoughtfully placed Lily's favorite dishes into her special plate. Frank Miller joked with her, saying that she would spoil the child. Sarah Hughes didn't take it seriously, touching the small crown on Lily's head. My daughter can do anything. The resentment that had been building up in my chest finally exploded. I returned to my room and tore up all the things Sarah Hughes had given me over the past 5 years and threw them into the trash can. The moment the trash can fell over, Frank Miller suddenly appeared in front of me. He kicked over my wheelchair. I was sweating from the pain, but he smiled. Leo Lancaster, it hurts to be crippled, doesn't it? After all these years, you're still as useless as ever. Watching your own wedding be replaced with my name, watching your wife bring back my daughter, and you have to swallow it all, I feel sorry for you. I struggled to get up. The next moment, Frank Miller leaned back and fell straight down the stairs. Before I could react, Sarah Hughes had already caught him in her arms, looking at me with anger in her eyes. Leo Lancaster, what are you doing? Are you crazy? Frank was kind enough to call you down for dinner. Why did you attack him? Sarah Hughes's parents also looked at me with displeasure. Lily stood beside them, wailing loudly. Bad man bullied Daddy. I don't want this bad man to come in. I want Daddy. Frank Miller weakly put his arm around Sarah Hughes's shoulders. I'm sorry. I just told Leo that I had agreed to attend the wedding in his place. I didn't expect him to misunderstand. Don't blame Leo. He didn't do it on purpose. I lay pathetically on the ground, a cold smile on my lips. Sarah Hughes, the wedding, the car accident, the child, don't you think you owe me an explanation? Sarah Hughes frowned, a hint of panic flashing in her eyes. Explain what? Your car accident has nothing to do with Frank Miller. He kindly agreed to attend the wedding in your place. Not only are you not grateful, but you also attacked him. Leo Lancaster, when did you become like this? Apologize to Frank. Before I could speak, Sarah Hughes's parents had already turned cold. You're already a cripple, but you still won't be quiet. Do you really think you're still the young master of the Lancaster family? Who else but my daughter would want a good-for-nothing like you? All right, ignore him. Being crippled is his retribution today. Hurry up and take Frank to the hospital. Don't let him get hurt. My fi. Gernails dug deeply into my palms, and blood kept flowing out from under me. Sarah Hughes supported Frank Miller with one hand and held the child's hand with the other. They left the mansion just like that. 5 years of love turned to ashes at that moment. I climbed into my wheelchair in a mess. I bought myself a plane ticket for the day of the wedding and went to a hotel. That night, Sarah Hughes sent me a message to explain. Frank Miller still has to attend the wedding in your place. It wouldn't look good if you hurt him. Letting you apologize was just a temporary measure, acting for him to see. Don't think too much. My parents were just saying whatever came to mind. I'll take them to apologize to you after the wedding. Get some rest. I've prepared a surprise for you. It'll be there on the day of the wedding. You'll definitely like it." But I knew that this act wasn't for Frank Miller to see at all. It was for me. She had been pretending to be so affectionate for 5 years. Now, it was time to end it. For the next 2 days, I didn't go home. Sarah Hughes didn't go back either. She was busy preparing for the wedding, doing everything herself. On the morning of the wedding, I called her. She was busy giving instructions to her assistant and didn't pay attention to me. "Miss Hughes, are you sure you want to transfer half of the company's shares to Mr. Miller? He's not a member of the Hughes family after all. Isn't this too risky? Do as I say. This half is the compensation I promised him. The other half is for the child. You personally greet the guests at the wedding. Be careful that the Lancaster family doesn't come to cause trouble." The assistant left, and Sarah Hughes remembered the call. "Leo? I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. The wedding is about to start. I'll come back to be with you as soon as it's over. Don't be upset." I looked at the plane ticket in my hand, expressionless. "Then you're busy. I won't bother you. Sarah Hughes, happy wedding." She paused for a second, then giggled. "Happy wedding to us. Be a good boy and wait for me at home." The call ended, and I turned and boarded the plane. After receiving the message confirming that the application to cancel his U.S. passport was successful, I deleted all her contact information. The wedding began. Sarah Hughes kept replaying that phone call in her mind, feeling uneasy. She turned to her assistant and instructed her. "Find out where Leo is. He'll definitely cause trouble if I marry someone else." After the ceremony, Frank Miller took Sarah Hughes's hand and went around toasting the guests. The assistant rushed over, her face pale. "Something bad has happened, Miss Hughes. Mr. Lancaster left on a plane this morning, and that flight has just crashed into the sea." Silence fell over the entire wedding. The joy on Sarah Hughes's face instantly turned pale. The glass in her hand fell to the ground. She couldn't care less about the Hughes family's so-called face and grabbed the assistant's collar, her eyes full of anger. "What did you say? Say it again. Where did Leo go?" Frank Miller, who was beside her, wanted to pull her away, trying to comfort her. "Sarah, don't be impulsive. Everyone is watching, and your parents are here. We can talk about this later." "Sarah?" Hearing his soft, concerned words, Sarah Hughes couldn't calm down as she used to. She shook off Frank Miller's arm with her other hand and dragged the assistant to a deserted corner. "What exactly happened to Leo? Shouldn't he be waiting for me obediently at the Lancaster estate? We talked on the phone this morning. He clearly promised me." Perhaps because she was too emotional, even Sarah Hughes didn't realize that her voice was trembling uncontrollably. She didn't know why she was so agitated. But the moment she heard that something had happened to me, she suddenly lost control. The assistant panicked and quickly showed her the news of the plane crash on her cell phone. "Mr. Lancaster did take this flight. I just found out. The Hughes family said they were going to hold a wedding for you these past 2 days, and they were short of staff. All the servants at the mansion were sent to the hotel, and no one was left to take care of Mr. Lancaster. I've checked his boarding information, and it's indeed this flight. I've also checked the surveillance footage at the mansion. Mr. Lancaster left 2 nights ago, the night you left with Mr. Miller." The hand on her collar dropped weakly. Sarah Hughes was overwhelmed by a deep sense of powerlessness for the first time. She didn't even have the strength to stand up. After a long while, she said softly, "No, Leo promised me that he would wait for me to come home and wished us a happy wedding." "No, that's not right. He said, 'Happy wedding to you and Frank Miller.'" Her voice was so soft that the assistant could barely hear her if she didn't listen carefully. Sensing that something was wrong, the assistant hesitated and said, "Miss Hughes, did Mr. Lancaster find out what you did? Otherwise, given his physical condition, it's impossible for him to leave at this time." "If that's the case, I'm afraid." The assistant didn't finish her sentence. But Sarah Hughes had already foreseen the result. But she didn't want to believe the bloody truth in front of her and chose to deceive herself. "No, it's impossible. Leo wouldn't find out. Knowing his personality, if he knew something, he would definitely come to me and ask me immediately. But he didn't say anything, and he didn't send me any messages in the past 2 days. I clearly explained what happened at the banquet to him, and he didn't blame me. He wouldn't just leave like this. I won't allow it. Find him. Search every inch of the earth to find him. Alive, I want to see him. Dead, I want to bury his body with my own hands." Sarah Hughes roared the last sentence with almost all her strength. The assistant was so frightened that her face turned pale. He quickly turned around to investigate my whereabouts. As soon as she left, Frank Miller came closer. Still with the same gentle look as before, he gently put his arm around Sarah Hughes's shoulders. "What's wrong? Did something happen to Leo?" I knew he'd be upset that I was attending the wedding in his place. But today is such an important day for the Hughes family. Several company executives are here, and the elders of the Hughes family are also here. Even if he's causing trouble, he shouldn't be angry with you at this time. He's even lying about a plane crash. He's too willful. Sarah, you're just too used to him. I know Leo. He doesn't have any friends here. He'll come back when he figures things out. Don't worry. Your parents are still waiting for you to propose a toast outside." If it had been before, Sarah Hughes might have listened to his words and waited for me to come back and admit my mistake. But this time, she remembered my unusual attitude. The surging emotions couldn't be calmed down no matter what. After a long while, she shook off Frank Miller's arm and said coldly, "Frank Miller, I'm reminding you one last time. You're just here to attend the wedding in Leo's place. Leo is my husband in name. You're not allowed to call my parents mom and dad either." A hint of resentment flashed in Frank Miller's eyes beside her. Before he could speak, Lily ran to the two of them and gently tugged at Sarah Hughes's wedding dress. Mommy, Grandpa and Grandma are calling you over. Let's ignore that bad man, okay? Lily wants to see Mommy and Daddy together." Hearing the words bad man, Sarah Hughes's cold expression became even more ugly. She looked straight at Frank Miller. "Did you teach Lily that?" "Frank Miller, the child is still young. What are you teaching her? If you don't know how to take care of children, I'll let my parents take care of Lily from now on. You don't need to interfere anymore." After speaking, she didn't give Frank Miller a chance to retort. She turned and walked into the hall. The news of the plane crash was still flashing on the cell phone screen. The veins on Sarah Hughes's temples were bulging. From the entrance of the hall to the front, all she could hear were the guests scolding and disdain for me. "I heard that Mr. Miller is helping to attend the wedding. Miss Hughes wouldn't really be in love with that cripple from the Lancaster family, would she? How is that possible? The Lancaster family moved to Europe a long time ago. Leo Lancaster doesn't even have any relatives here. Such a big wedding, and no one from his family came. Ms. Hughes must still have feelings for Mr. Miller. This is just a plan. Didn't you see how grand this wedding is? I don't believe she didn't plan it in advance." "Don't say that. Mr. Lancaster is also pitiful. He became crippled in a car accident and can't have children. He'll be a good-for-nothing for the rest of his life. He was the only young master of the Lancaster family, but now he's ended up like this." The more those people said, the uglier Sarah Hughes's face became. How could this be? She had already ordered everyone to block the news of Leo Lancaster's accident after the car accident. The driver wouldn't be able to say anything either. As long as the wedding was over, Leo Lancaster would be her husband in name. She would live a good life with him in the future. Watching Lily grow up. She would protect Leo Lancaster and not let anyone look down on him because of his injuries. But how could the news have leaked out? She hadn't seen Leo Lancaster these past 2 days. What exactly happened during this time? Had these people scolded him in front of him? Had he been bullied? All kinds of doubts lingered in her heart, making it almost impossible for her to breathe. Sarah Hughes's parents saw her return, and they both breathed a sigh of relief. But their words gave her a fatal blow. Sarah, now that something has happened to Leo Lancaster, let Frank M. Miller come into the family from now on. Anyway, Leo Lancaster is a good-for-nothing. It's unlucky to have him at home. Pick a time to get your marriage certificate. The Hughes family hasn't had such a big celebration in a long time. After the wedding, I'll go back and have the servants clean out Leo Lancaster's room and turn it into your honeymoon suite. Sarah Hughes stood there in a daze, looking at the happy faces of her parents. For the first time, she felt disgust. What wedding? Isn't Frank Miller already married to someone else in Europe? Sarah's mother glanced at her, chuckling softly. Oh, you wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't said that, would you? Wasn't it all to get Lily into the family? Frank voluntarily ruined his reputation to have the child recognized. We had no choice since you were so hung up on that Leo Lancaster. Anyway, that cripple is gone now, which is just as well. Frank doesn't have to pretend anymore. You'll be a family from now on. He had to go to Europe before, we don't blame him. Those words nearly shattered Sarah Hughes's sanity. The smug looks on her parents' faces stabbed at her heart. She thought of all the times she'd questioned Frank Miller these past few weeks. Whenever she mentioned his wife in Europe, Frank would always evade the topic. He never initiated conversations about how they met. There was no trace of his wife on his social media app. How foolish she'd been, only now realizing the truth beneath his lies. And to bring Lily home, she'd killed the man she was about to marry. Leo Lancaster had no family or friends in the States. He'd stayed here for her, and she'd promised to be Leo Lancaster's support for the rest of his life. Never to betray their love. But what had she done? Guilt and regret tore at her. After a long silence, Sarah Hughes spoke coldly, "My husband will only ever be Leo Lancaster. Whether he's alive or dead, I will only marry him. I don't care if Frank Miller is married or not. Had one night with him 3 years ago was a mistake. If I'd known it would lead to Lily, I would never have gotten involved with him again. Since this wedding is what you wanted, you can deal with the consequences yourselves. My husband, I'll move heaven and earth to find him." With that, Sarah Hughes turned and left. Before she could even leave the hall, Frank Miller rushed to her, Lily in his arms. Frank cried, frantic. "Sarah, Lily accidentally broke a glass and cut her arm. Where are you going? Can you at least take her to the hospital?" Blood dripped from Lily's thin arm. At the same time, Sarah Hughes's cell phone rang. It was her assistant. She didn't even glance at Frank Miller. She only said, "Take a cab yourself. My parents will take care of the child from now on." Then she left the wedding venue. As soon as she stepped outside, she answered the assistant's call. "What's the news? Have you found Leo Lancaster?" The assistant sighed deeply. "Miss Hughes, I've searched everywhere I can think of. All I know is that Mr. Lancaster stayed in a hotel for 2 nights before he disappeared. There's also his boarding information from the airport, but nothing else. You should ask the rescue team. After so long, they might have recovered the body." Sarah Hughes hung up abruptly before the assistant could finish. She didn't believe it. She didn't believe Leo Lancaster would abandon her. She certainly didn't believe Leo Lancaster had died in that plane crash. She got into her car, flooring the accelerator, wanting to rush to the rescue team for answers. But after 2 intersections, she slammed on the brakes and pulled over. Frustrated, she slapped herself twice. She herself had orchestrated that car accident. She herself had ordered the surgery. Leo Lancaster was weak now. A plane crash that even a healthy person might not survive. How could he possibly survive with his condition? Overwhelmed by emotion, she pulled out her cell phone and opened her chat window with Leo Lancaster. Looking at his profile picture, it was as if Leo Lancaster was still by her side. At times like this, only seeing the traces of Leo Lancaster's existence could bring her a semblance of peace. She reached out, trembling, and stroked Leo Lancaster's profile picture over and over. The chat history stopped 2 days ago. She'd explained the party that night to Leo Lancaster, her words sincere. But Leo Lancaster hadn't replied. He never ignored her messages. No matter what he was doing, her messages always got special attention. Leo Lancaster would always answer her calls immediately. When had he started to change? Sarah Hughes hadn't even noticed. It seemed like everything had changed after the car accident. Scrolling up through the chat history, there was Leo Lancaster eagerly anticipating their wedding for 5 years. Sarah, is this wedding dress pretty? Do you like it? You have such a great figure, you'll look stunning in it. Should we take our wedding photos in this style? We'll print them out and hang them in the most visible spot at the wedding. I want the whole world to see my happiness, to see that I have such a loving wife. Sarah, the wedding ring I bought last time seems a little big. Can I exchange it for a different one? You said you wanted to surprise me. Did you design a wedding ring yourself? You're so amazing. She had indeed designed a wedding ring herself. But it was for Frank Miller. Those dresses were just props she used to placate Leo Lancaster. Leo Lancaster had looked forward to their wedding for 5 years. She'd been deceiving him from the start. But he never realized it, always immersed in the joy of love, thinking he'd found the most considerate and gentle wife in the world. The joy between the man's lines made Sarah Hughes cry uncontrollably. Tears fell on the screen. She sent message after message to Leo Lancaster, confessing her long-held love for him, expressing her guilt and remorse. But the messages only return D with a red exclamation point. Leo Lancaster had blocked her. Without hesitation, Sarah Hughes started the car again and drove to the rescue team. But it was all too late. The rescue team hadn't found any trace of Leo Lancaster in the sea. At the same time, I landed, and I was already in Europe. That plane crash was deliberately staged by me, a trap set specifically for Sarah Hughes. She wanted me crippled, she wanted me to wish I were dead, she wanted me to live in lies. As a gift, as a reward, I also gave her a great gift before leaving. My brother picked me up at the airport and saw me sitting in a wheelchair. His eyes instantly turned red. How could this happen? Didn't Sarah Hughes promise to take good care of you? Did she do this? Why did the surgery have to be done in Europe? It must have been her, right? Leo Lancaster, can't you see her true colors even now? Are you still covering for her? I smiled and wiped away the tears from the corners of his eyes. I'm fine, aren't I doing okay? I wanted to stay by her side before, so this is just a lesson. I don't want to be entangled with her anymore. It's better to leave like this. How are the surgery arrangements going? I want to wait until I recover before going home. I don't want my family to worry. My brother nodded quickly. It's all arranged. We've hired a specialist here. He's reviewed the medical records and said the surgery has a high probability of success, but we can't delay it. I'll take you there now. The surgery lasted 5 hours. The doctor said it was fortunate that I arrived in time. If I'd delayed for 2 more days, I wouldn't have been able to stand up at all. Now, I just need to wait for my body to recover, do some training, and it won't be difficult to return to a normal life. I stopped paying attention to news from the States. But the Hughes family was too well known. My cell phone was constantly pushing news. At the Hughes family wedding, the bride ran away halfway through. Frank Miller became the laughingstock of everyone. Sarah Hughes's parents came forward to explain that Frank Miller was the Hughes family's son-in-law. The statement had just been released when Sarah Hughes stepped forward to expose it. She registered an account under her real name and posted her wedding photos with me online. She also declared that Leo Lancaster was the only man she would ever marry. Lily was taken back to the Lancaster estate by Sarah Hughes. She threatened to end her own life if Frank Miller was allowed to set foot in the Lancaster estate. Otherwise, she would destroy all the Hughes family's assets. Sarah Hughes's parents were unwilling, but they couldn't go against their only daughter. They had no choice but to do as she said. Frank Miller's dream of marrying into a wealthy family was shattered. The two families completely broke ties and fought over Lily's custody. But Sarah Hughes, as the child's mother, never spoke up for him. Looking at the insults directed at Sarah Hughes in the comments section, I couldn't understand her more and more. This was clearly her own choice. Now that I'd made way for her and Frank Miller, who was she putting on this late show of affection for? I stopped clicking on news from the States and focused on recovering in the hospital. My brother came to take care of me almost every day. Life wasn't too boring. But Sarah Hughes was completely different. Unable to find my whereabouts for a week, she was drinking every day, rarely sober. When she was sent to the emergency room with a perforated stomach, looking at her friends she'd grown up with, she doubted herself for the first time. Was I wrong? Leo Lancaster isn't dead, is he? I've searched all the rescue teams, there's no sign of his body. The boarding information must be fake, right? The Lancaster family has power that reaches the heavens. Is this all his punishment for me? The doctor sighed helplessly. Let me be honest with you. Leo Lancaster was unconscious before. But even though he didn't open his eyes, he was still aware. He knew everything you did. I saw tears in the corners of his eyes during the surgery. Sarah, you broke his heart. He won't come back. I advised you from the start that you and Leo Lancaster were a couple. Frank Miller was just a fleeting illusion from your college days. Once he was gone, he should have been forgotten. You were living in the past, and I couldn't wake you up. Leo Lancaster's appearance was once your salvation. I thought you were childhood sweethearts and wouldn't be disturbed by Frank Miller, but you still made the wrong choice. Frank Miller is not a good person. The idea he gave you was to completely ruin Leo Lancaster, but you were obsessed and didn't listen. Now you've passed the point of no return. Do you really think that one night with Frank Miller in Europe 3 years ago was an accident? You know very well in your heart that from the moment you planted that seed, your relationship with Leo Lancaster was already broken. Only then did Sarah Hughes understand what she had missed and what she had lost. But it was too late. Ignoring her body, which had just undergone surgery, she took a cab to the police station to report the incident. From the police station, she found my new identity information. A day later, she appeared in Europe, outside my hospital room. Watching me doing rehabilitation exercises with difficulty, leaning on crutches, her tears fell uncontrollably. Her tired eyes were bloodshot. She didn't speak or make any sound. She just hid behind the wall and watched silently for a long time. Before leaving, she left a note and asked the nurse to give it to me. It read, "I grant you freedom for the rest of your life, the last promise I will make to you.